Hi, I'm Daz. I'm the producer of The Drift, and it's been a week now since we advertised for visual effects artists to help us out with post-production. And this has followed a sort of 6-week strategy process with my dream team to devise a way of actually being able to get more shots done. So essentially what the change has been is that rather than giving people a 2-week, 3-week deadline, with say perhaps 50 shots or something like that, what we're now giving is a 3-day deadline with perhaps 5 or 6 shots. And so far we've advertised on our website and on Twitter, sort of a limited exposure. We haven't gone broader than that yet. And what we've actually achieved, we had about sort of 10, 11 volunteers, and already in the space of a week, I've got 25 shots, which are now going on the timeline in a week, which is brilliant. It almost makes you think, well, why did we do this before? And in some ways, it kind of defies logic, which is in terms of why we didn't do what we're doing now before, because to give someone such a short deadline makes you think, well, you put people under pressure that you don't even know, as in you email them or you ask for their help, and then suddenly you're giving them a million things to do. And actually, it's working quite well at the moment. So that's a really good place to be, and a very positive start to this year. So yay! However, there are some new challenges that come with that, because one of the sort of obstacles you have to overcome is that it's not just about working in a collaborative environment, which is we're already used to doing. We're having to work on a lot of different platforms. And what I mean is that although generally we're using After Effects, different people have different versions of After Effects, because we're not all rich, we can't all afford the latest ones. So some people have got CS4, like me. Some people have got 5, and 6. So already there are issues. And the second thing on top of that is the other plugins. So the way that we might do a particular type of effect, like a green screen, might be different to someone else, how someone else does it. So that's creating some challenges as well. So we have to sort of create sort of like a core standard or baseline as to how we're going to do things. And then, so that was the first thing. We try to think about that in the strategy, which we've pushed out to people. So say, when you do your visual effect for us, can you make sure that it's done in a certain way? Or if you're using a plugin, please let us know what it is and see if we've got it, can we buy it, and all that kind of stuff. Or recommend the ones that we are using. Obviously looking at the version software as well, because it's it's difficult with we've got an older version to be able to import a newer version, so it's having to sort of downgrade effectively that version so you can import it. But then the other thing that sort of came up on top of all that was where it is actually importing the file back into the timeline. And without getting sort of too technical and geeky about it, basically you have a video clip, which is what you're going to add effects to, whether it's a green screen or a laser or whatever. And then the After Effects basically puts those visuals, those effects, on top of, in front of the clip, which is great. But when you import it back in, so basically we get the visual effect back. It has trouble finding where that video clip was, because on my system, it's all in the same file structure. It's in my documents or wherever. It's not, but if you know what I mean, it's my document or wherever, it's in a certain place, and there's like 4,500 clips. These guys get the clip and the After Effects file for them to work on and send back, and they only send back the After Effects file. So it's in a different place, and it's not easy really to sort of say to them, well, make sure you put it in this sort of file structure, because now we're giving work to the people. They're already doing enough work for us as it is, so we've got to just basically bring it back in and then rejiggle it around. So we didn't realise that, or rather we forgot that, as it were, because once we realised, it's obvious once you remember it. So now we have to add more to our workflow. So basically when a file comes in, we have to do stuff to it to make it compliant with our timeline, with our project timeline, with our edit, and that's fine. And what's been really important part of our strategy last year was sort of path of least resistance, hurdles. What can we do here to minimise the work to the visual effects artists, so that they can concentrate on just doing the visual effect, and that Because what we found in the past is that if things like, the wrong After Effects version, or not being able to find the file, or it taking too long to transfer the footage, or exporting to a lossless, all this kind of things, these are all things that are slowing our artists down. And in the real world, they could sit there and try and solve a problem, or they could go and watch TV, or do a visual effect for their own movie that's easier, or whatever. So we've got to make it as easy for them as possible. So looking at what these new problems that have come up, looking at those, I've been very keen to make sure that we solve those problems in-house. So if you think about outsourcing the task, the visual effect task, that's outsourced, that's then brought back in. We then are responsible for sorting out all the problems. They've done what we asked them to do, and we should be thanking them for that, and we do, and then give them more stuff, and then we, on the in-house, should be getting that ready to go back in, and not expect our outsourced talent to sort out our in-house problem. So in the last sort of 24 hours, that's what we've done. And the reason why it's been so quick is because I'm very keen now that whilst we're moving relatively quickly, we keep that going. So just like I give the 3-day deadline, or we've been giving 3-day deadlines to our outsourced visual effects artists, I'm also giving very short deadlines to our in-house dream team, for the same reason, that look, do it now, get it done. Otherwise, don't wait till the end of the weekend. Don't just get it done. And it was all done in one evening. We found the problem, we corrected the issues, we imported the visual effects AE files, they worked. We're now creating a workflow. We've got a meeting tonight to basically summarise what's going on. In fact, that's the other thing now, is that we're having twice. We used to have a meeting once a week. Now we're having 2 meetings a week to sort of catch up on stuff, as well as dealing with these things as they come up. Now the idea is that this is the first week, will be 2 weeks of inviting outsourced visual effects artists to help us. We need to sort of, it's kind of the ultimate test, I suppose, although we are getting stuff in already. Once that dust kind of settles and we get into that new battle rhythm, we need to formalise that workflow so we all understand it, and then we're going to expand again. So right now we've got 10 artists, and they all do three shots or 5 shots in a weekend. Well, that's 50 shots, 800 shots to do. That's really good. If we're really potentially could really get through this very, very quickly, compared to the last 9 months where very little has been done for the reasons that have been discussed in the previous diaries. The other thing, of course, is that there's sort of 2 types of effects as well. So you've got what I call the boring ones, just like chroma keying and stuff, which in terms of they're less spectacular, they're the hidden effects. And then you've got the more sort of explicit effects, the explosions and the organic things, the warp drive, stuff that's is definitely science fiction-y, rather than just trying to basically put it into space or create a backdrop. So what we're looking at also now doing is that once we've built up a sort of a rapport with these artists, is to sort of expand their portfolio in terms of they're doing the normal stuff first, and then let's see what else they can do, and start having a look at the more developed effects. And I think that's going to happen in the next sort of couple of weeks as well. So no, it's going very, very well. A pleasant surprise. I suppose it should be expected, because we have done a lot of planning. We haven't just done nothing for the last 6 weeks and thought, right, okay, well in the new year it'll be great. No, we've stopped. We identified it wasn't working that way. We've now created a new plan, and we're executing that plan. And yes, there are little issues and stuff which you won't really know about until you do it. You can plan and plan and plan, but ultimately you've got to get on and do it, and that's where you really learn the lessons. We're learning those lessons, and we've applied those lessons, and already we're getting shots in now that we on scenes that I've never seen that have had stuff in. It looks brilliant. Again, it's amazing how much the visual effects make a difference, because I've watched this movie countless times with green screen all over the place, or text to say this is what's happening, and now I'm actually getting to see what's happening, or seeing the star fields instead of just green, etc. And that makes a big difference for other issues like sound and the edit, because now it's bringing the next level of the film to life, and is often the case with science fiction films, particularly those that are in space, that it's really important that you get those star fields in, because that's actually part of the universe, as in the film universe. There it is set in space. When you're filming on location, everything just looks how it's generally going to look, because you've done it all in pre and during filming. You set everything up. When there's visual effects involved, that's not the same. So it's not just about filling in the blanks. It's not just about getting the visual effects done just so the film is finished. Not at all. It's actually about allowing the edit and the sound and the pace and the story of the film to develop to its full potential, because the visual effects are just so vital to filling in those areas to allow us to move forward. So it's been very good. Very, very, very pleased. We'll see how it goes in the next couple of weeks.